by Next Level Racing and supported by Driver 61. It's a totally different track today for you. It's the 4th of July, which means it's celebration day in the US. We're running a US series, of course, in the Indy Pro 2000. But we are here for the first ever official oval race of the Digital-Motorsports Championship. We're here at Phoenix in Arizona, and it is going to be a fantastic race today. No heat races, a straight fight to the finish. 100 laps around this short oval track, 1.62 kilometers, completed in these cars in just under 25 seconds. 24.3 seconds is a lap around here. 43 degrees Celsius track temperatures. Oisin Walsh on the pole with Peter Dempsey and Oscar Mangan and James Holman, Patrick McKenna and Wayne Douglas, with Jason Cooper, Marty Moore, Keith Dempsey and Colby James in P10. Well, Sam Fitzpatrick alongside me once again. Sam, this is something totally different for me and you as well. We've never covered an oval race, and I'm actually pretty excited to see how this is going to turn out.
Yeah, my only experience, unfortunately, is MX5s around Talladega for a few hours. I don't think that's going to be too useful, to be honest, in this situation. It's a fantastic challenge for the drivers. We've seen these guys take on the TCR cars, the GT4s, because this is the first season in these USF 2000 cars. But this is, so different to what they know. It's going to be a real changing of the pecking order, and a few drivers who perhaps have a little bit of oval experience. Perhaps their racecraft is a bit better than maybe some of the established drivers. It's a great opportunity at getting a surprise win, or maybe a surprise podium. Also a great chance as well for some of these amateur drivers as well to really show their class against the pros.
Exactly, so we have the pro drivers and the pro-am drivers in the same race. There's 40 cars on the track. Cautions are enabled, as we all know, and we are implementing a lucky dog system. So if the caution flies, then the car that is one lap down, the first car that is one lap down, will get a wave around to come back onto the lead lap. But we should get 2 pace laps around here. It's a short oval track, but it's Oisin Walsh. Now remember, Oisin showed some great pace last week, and Peter Dempsey as well fighting for that win. Oscar Mangan as well. We know himself and Keith Dempsey came together, and interesting to see how Keith Dempsey gets on, because this is not his forte. We're not going to get 2 place laps. We're about to get rolling here in Phoenix for 100 laps around this track. Oisin Walsh gets a great getaway. Peter Dempsey follows him through. James Holman with Oscar Mangan side by side, turn number 1, and you get an idea of the layout of this circuit. Unusual on the exit of turn 1. It just goes straight. It's not quite a full oval, and the caution flies immediately, as we've had some problems further down. And I think that's actually about that was the correct guess for a number of people. That's Dave Maguire in the wall with a couple of others as well. They made it around to turn 1, didn't quite make it to turn 2, and the caution is already out, Sam.
I could put plenty of fuel in that Mustang pace car, because could have a few laps under caution. Here was 3 wide going into turn 1, and that is a lot of cars involved. The drivers will get a fast repair, so they'll be able to go back to the pits, but that will be their fast repair gone. And it's also 4 incidents as well. I've done a couple of NASCAR races, and it's difficult to keep your incidents down to the 17, which is the limit for this race. Otherwise, you get a drive-through penalty, which would put you a lap down potentially if you did get that stop and hold. So yeah, we will do these first 2 laps under caution, and hopefully everyone should be able to come back to the back of the train, although I guess a few might have to tow back to the pits, which will put them a lap or 2 down.
Yeah, exactly. So that's about at least 6 or 7 cars involved in that turn 1 incident. But no problems for our leader, Oisin Walsh, Peter Dempsey, Oscar Mangan, James Holman, and now this is good for them to conserve fuel, because they're not going to get 100 laps on a single set of tyres and a single bit of fuel. Just seen a car just about managing to come out in front of the pace car, so they'll be able to come around and get back on the lead lap. And from what I understand, the guys have agreed to do single file restarts to save the trouble of the double file restart we had just there. Peter Dempsey, Mangan, Holman, Douglas, McKenna, Jason Cooper, Keith Dempsey, Marty Moore and Colby James. There is Oscar Mangan just behind, and just cruising around. Not sure how many laps we're going to get under caution. It wouldn't be many. Mangan is taken to the pit lane, it looks like, and he's opting possibly for an early strategical stop. Is he going to just fill the tank and see how far he can get? Peter Dempsey follows him in as well, so already strategy coming into play.
He hasn't got a front wing. Mangan hasn't got a front wing.
Right.
It's shaking about a little bit, and for some reason I noticed the slight vibrations in that nose before I noticed the lack of wing. So that's a mandatory pit stop then. for him. He'll get that fixed. Make sure you don't use your faster pair in this situation because I think he has used his faster pair
Yeah, he has.
potentially, which isn't necessarily the wise thing to do because that's gone now for him. And he needs to make sure he doesn't get involved in a wreck, which from this position is going to be quite tricky. The cars come back out, and you can see this train is so long that they come out in the top 20 still, which isn't too bad. I don't imagine they'll get an end of line. As we've said before, we're not totally experienced with this, and these drivers aren't experienced either. Although it doesn't look like Dempsey will get an end of line then, so he'll have to go right to the back of the pack, even though his pit stop didn't take too long. That's why Mangan really should have not used that faster pair because he's not gained any time from it.
Obviously forgot about it when he came into the pit lane. It was interesting, I just heard from Oscar actually. Looks, and apparently his screen went totally black and he hit the wall and lost his front wing. So a bit of a shame for him, but it all happens. I'm sure that we're going to get the pace car possibly in this lap. You usually get about 2 or 3 laps under caution. But Oisin Walsh and a car is just going to come out, I think, just about in front. And so, yeah, pace car in this lap we just heard. So Oisin Walsh still leads. Now it's James Holman and Wayne Douglas, the 2 Brits now behind them, with Patrick McKenna up in 4th. He's now the highest placed Pro-Am driver. Then Jason Cooper, Keith Dempsey, Marty Moore, Colby James, Naveed Hussain, and Nicky Meredith. And interesting to see so many drivers who are so used to TCR and single-seaters on circuits now, getting used to oval being seen. Now they're Walsh bringing them to the outside line. Is going to let the pace car peel into the pit lane, and we will now get underway. Hopefully we can make it past turn 1 this time. We'll see how it gets on to celebrate the 4th of July and the second round of the Digital-Motorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup. Oisin Walsh controls the restart, and away we go once again, single file, and the caution is retracted as they come towards turn 1. Walsh, Holman, Douglas, McKenna, Cooper, Dempsey, Moore, James, Hussain, Meredith, and Shane Rabbit into 11th. There is Jason Cooper with a car just tapping the wall there. McKenna tapped the wall. There's going to be suspension damage down into the grass. Can he keep it out of the wall? He does, and he did very, very well. And somehow they came away without a massive crash. But Patrick McKenna has got suspension damage from that wall tap, and very, very lucky that the car's managing to avoid him. He's got to limp back to the pit lane now.
He'll be so frustrated with that one just on the restart. Maybe the cold tyres just causing him to understeer slightly into the outside wall, and that's plenty of damage for him. But like I keep on saying, one faster pair for these drivers. You will go a lap down, however, and that's really what you've got to try to do around the circuit. If you get a caution, then you can drive back to the back of the train. But if you're 1 lap down, then that really does jeopardise that potentially. Jason Cooper, they're losing a place. That was easy for Hussain, wasn't it? That outside line working very well, seemingly earlier on, and then taking the inside line for turn 1, even a little bit of the open, such as the downforce on these junior single-seaters. So Hussain now up 7 places. Keith Dempsey just had him up 5 places as well as Shane Rabbit as well. He's trying to gain some places. He's now up 5.
Yeah, a good drive from Shane Rabbit at the moment. There is Nicky Meredith trying to just hold that outside line, trying to hold the outside of caution. Flies again, and we got more problems. I think that Dave Collier possibly, Kelly. And Oisin Kelly. Owen Kelly further down the order with a broken front right. The caution flies again, and we get another momentary respite in the racing. And I think that was just on his own there by Owen Kelly. Just possibly went into that outside wall. Whole right side of the car is. What happened to Owen here?
Trying to see who's going to be on the lucky dog as well. I think Chris Connolly might be the lucky dog. He'll get promoted. Anyone who knows the origins of that, that's where the chat would be interesting. There was the contact then for Kelly. I think that may have been with Collier. Not quite sure. It was the purple card. At least I'm seeing on my screen. Can't quite catch the number. However, just it was making a little bit of contact and maybe a little bit of neck code as well, and going to the outside wall through turn 4. And Kelly, hopefully we'll see him out later on in this race. But Oisin Walsh, I mean, a lot of stuff has happened behind. Lots of chopping and change. Barely anyone in the same positions as they started with. But Walsh is one of those few drivers, and so far it's been very comfortable for him. I wonder what his thoughts will be right now, whether he'll be happy or a little bit disappointed with all these cautions.
I'm sure he's going to be possibly quite annoyed, because he'd actually managed to gap James Holman quite well. After the first 2 laps, he was easily 2-3 tenths a second faster, which is a lot of time around this track. But James Holman doing an excellent job there in second place, and Wayne Douglas, of course, won race 1 on Wednesday, so he is a race winner. Keith Dempsey in 4th didn't have the best feature. That is the lucky dog getting a wave around there, so that's the car in 30th place.
Connolly, yeah.
Yeah, it was Connolly. Yeah, so he's getting the wave around, and he will join the back of the pack there. Yeah, Chris Connolly just going to loop around to the back of the pack, and once they reach the back of the pack, we should get the pace car in. So he's thankfully he's doing it at speed, so we should be able to get going shortly, possibly on the next lap by. But for now, Oisin Walsh has to sit behind, and all it needs to do really is just keep doing the job he's been doing so far. He is a race winner, of course, in Digital Motorsports. He won back in the TCR car. That's a while back now, but he is certainly a winner. Hasn't won in this championship, but we'll see how he's able to get on. Just noticing there, you can see him conserving fuel, 6th gear, and just the minimum throttle inputs, because they will have to make a pit stop. And thankfully, he still has his fast repairs. If anything goes wrong, then it'll help him, of course. But yeah, cruising around in 6th gear and trying to use as little fuel as possible, just coasting behind the Ford Mustang safety car. And we'll see. I don't know if the pace car is coming in this lap.
Yeah, we won't be coming in this lap. The light's still flashing along on the Ford Mustang. It's fantastic to see the Ford Mustang pace car, because it is the best pace car, as I say time and time again. Forget the Porsche pace car, this is certainly the best. Just a reminder as well, in terms of the safety car rules, I was watching a little bit of IndyCar earlier on at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Recall that they're mixed with NASCAR for this 4th of July weekend. And of course, the safety car rules in America are a little bit different to what we have in Europe. So of course, the pit lane is closed when the pace car first comes out on the second. It's a couple of tours before you can before the pit lane opens. That means that pretty much whenever you pit, you're going to be at the back of the line. It really does make some interesting strategic calls. You want to kind of pit as soon before the pace car as you possibly can, or just pit under the pace car. That's probably the best way to go about it with these cautions. But of course, at the moment, the driver's nowhere near in terms of fuel. We're not quite sure how far these drivers will be able to go on fuel, but probably going to be a 2-stop strategy should the fuel permit it, I imagine, as the pace car is going to do one more tour then. The lights are still on it, and this is a little bit of an extended one, a little bit longer than the one we saw earlier on, but hopefully the lights will go up just as we cross the line for lap 14.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying watching Oisin Walsh. He seems to like to just kind of hound the pace car a little bit. I think he's playing a game to keep himself entertained and see how close to the back of that car he can get. And lights are off on the safety car, so we are going to be under racing on lap number 15 at last, so we can now get engaged again. James Holman now wants to get himself nice and close to the back of Oisin Walsh, if he possibly can, or is he going to keep his distance because he knows that Oisin Walsh has got the pace. But now we look at Wayne Douglas, who's right on the back of him here as we come just to turn 2. There you can see it's kind of a misshapen oval here in Phoenix, kind of cuts across then towards turn 3 and 4. And now Oisin Walsh will get to control the start once again, and we'll head on to lap 15 of 100, and we'll see how the guys are able to do this time. Hopefully it's all clean. Pace car will peel off to the left-hand side, and we go green again on lap number 15. Oisin Walsh leads, Holman second, and Douglas in third. Keith Dempsey up to 4th place now, and behind Naveed Hussain, Jason Cooper, Martin Moore, Colby James, Shane Rabbit, and Nicky Meredith are your top 10 as they file through. You can see already Walsh gapping already. Wayne Douglas starting to challenge for 2nd place now. See if he can nip it up the inside here. Takes the inside line. Holman to the outside line. He'll carry more momentum on that outside line. Is not able to get alongside him as they exit turn number 4. Still alongside there. His spotter will still be calling him inside. James Holman holds the outside line. It's going to be lap on lap, side by side. But Holman holds on to that 4 now. Caution back out again. That's caution number 3. Oh, that's a big one. Dave Collier is upside down, flipping on the back straight. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars involved in that one, and that's a big one. The caution is out again. Owen Murray, Kevin Shine, possibly Sergey Grabham as well. So there was a lot of cars involved in that one, but the big one, Dave Collier flipping upside down on the back straight. That was a big one, Sam.
It sure was. Let's see. It's turn 4 again and into the outside wall. Then just bouncing back into the circuit. A couple of them bouncing back into the circuit. Kevin Shine was very unfortunate. Collier, I think, may have been the one who crashed into the wall first, and yet he managed to rattle his way down the pit straight. Quite a few meters. There was Collier with that first hit, and then he gets hit again. Yeah, I'd say he may even get hit again. No, it was just that first hit that sent him tumbling down. And potentially, well, I think he should have the faster car. I don't think he's coming to the pits yet, but once again, will be laps down. Will Dave Collier, and we're down to 26 cars now on the lead lap, and we've got 40 drivers out there, so plenty of guys who have been unfortunate so far, and a couple of drivers as well with damage who'll have to come into the pit when the pit lane opens.
So the drivers will get the call when the pit lane opens. So there is Peter Dempsey down in 21st place, down into 20th now as we see O'Shea coming into the pit lane. So the number 2 car, remember he was fighting for the win last time, and Peter, of course, used to ovals, used to race in Indy Lights back a long time ago, and is now all the way down in 20th. But then again, anything can happen from this far down. He is now behind the car of Nathan Healy. As we see him now, he's just pulling to the inside. I would imagine he's going to come into the pit lane. The pit lane is open as he just peels to the inside line. Either that or he's waiting for the wave around call, but I think he is definitely heading to the pit lane. Heads to the inside. A couple of cars in. Kevin Shine, of course, after the accident is in. And Peter Dempsey, of course, has to make sure that he doesn't overtake anybody on the way into the pit lane before he can get to the limiter. So he'll peel to the left-hand side. I'm not sure actually what he's doing. He's just holding the inside line. I thought he was coming in, but he's obviously not. And holds behind for now. But still Walsh leading. Holman second. Douglas in third. Dempsey fourth. Naveed Hussain in the top 5. Pro-Am driver. Jason Cooper there in 6th. And Marty Moore in 7th. Shane Rabbit up in 8th. And then Colby James in 9th. Nicky Meredith. Outside that is Lyons, McGovern, Jordan Kelly. Remember the winner of the feature race on Wednesday is in 13th place. Then it's Tony Stack, Keith Rabbit, Ronan Hederman, Jan Montero, Rob Moore, Nathan Healy, then Peter Dempsey, Diarmuid Toomey, Pat Masterson, and then Shane Connolly in 23rd place. So we'll see how Jordan Kelly can get on from Daytona with a bit of an oval to now a full oval, and taking his first win in about a year. A year in the making it was his win, and he's now just outside the top 10 on the ovals. Not something he's used to. And Oisin Walsh fully in the lead at this point. And I think we're just going to wait for the pace car to come in. We're going to have another few laps around here, but we're already 20 laps into this one, and we were going to make a bet on how many cautions, but my estimate has actually already gone out the window. So we've had 3 cautions already. Not sure how many more we're going to have, and I'm sure Oisin Walsh is going to be not in the best mood because he's controlled everything, and he's been stuck behind the pace car for the best part of 15 laps. I think we've only had 5 laps green flag racing, Sam.
Yeah, so far it's been at a premium, has all of this. Ewan Murray, very slow. I don't know if he's run out of fuel or maybe he's serving an end of line, but he was ahead of the pace car. He hasn't run out of fuel at least. Maybe he was serving an end of line, and now he's driving ahead of a few of these guys. I don't know what's going on with Ewan at the moment. Let's see if he goes back ahead again, or does he come into the pits?
He must be the lucky dog.
Maybe he is, but he was ahead of the pace car previously. And then he seemed to slow down, let everyone pass, and then overtake everyone again, which was quite a strange one. But there he is. Murray does move back onto the lead lap then. We're getting it. I thought we might be getting into the realms of perhaps refueling, where these drivers might want to take a new set of tyres and some refueling, but so far none of the front runners wanted to do that. I think at the moment you just want to be at the front where the incidents are at their least prominent. So if you're the race leader right now, you just want to keep your advantage for as long as possible. And also, there's a time limit on this race. We're either going to do 55 minutes or 100 laps. At the moment, it does look like it's going to be the 55 minutes because we're only a fifth of the way into this race, despite being out 17 minutes into the event. So if we keep on going like this, then it looks like we're going to be limited by time as the pace car comes in once again.
Green flag once again for the third time, and Wayne Douglas immediately on the attack on James Holman, this time to the inside line of turn number 1. See if he can get that target car up underneath James Holman, but Holman does a good job to cover that off. Keith Dempsey also on the attack already. Naveed Hussain trying to get a result for the Pro-Am guys on the outside line as they come towards turn 3 now in the yellow car, as you can see now. Keith Dempsey trying to cover it off as well. So Hussain to the outside line. He's got good speed, but he gets covered off. And Keith Dempsey, double overtake on the inside line, takes third place as well. Now Hussain going to try and follow through in the slipstream of Dempsey as they come through turn 1 again. Lap 23 of 100. Hussain side by side with Douglas. Douglas just has it on the outside line, but a great move from Keith Dempsey. Double overtake, and he slots into third place now, but he's got to fend off Wayne Douglas now on board with Jason Cooper, who's also involved in this fight. But you can see already, Sam, Oisin Walsh has checked out already.
Yeah, he's already got a 9/10 of a second gap, which will pretty much break the draft, as we learned from Daytona. So that is absolutely mighty from him so far. Jason Cooper just trying to find an alternative lane. You don't want to stay right in the track through the corners. Might be a little bit of turbulence from these cars. And you can see, if anything, Cooper's just struggling to keep up at the moment with Hussain. He's setting about trying to pass Wayne Douglas just up the very tight line there for Cooper. And that seems to work really well. This is getting tight. So this is in the squabble for approximately 20th place. We've got Castaway on the apron, and that may be Shane Rabbit, I'm not quite sure. But Chris Connolly trying to come back after that big crash earlier on across point. Here comes Kobe James straight down the inside. James starts it up in the top 10. He's been dropping down significantly ever since then. He's just now to 23rd now, being overtaken by Shane Connolly as well just a second ago. So yeah, Chris is up to 21st position as seems to have our longest run of green flag, and hopefully the field will start to spread out a little bit. That will mean that the portions are slightly less creepy.
Yeah, I think what was causing a lot of that was Oscar Mangan was trying to unlap himself. So you can see Mangan is ahead of these guys. We're looking at Nathan Higley. Mangan is ahead of him. Then Conley's behind. Then you have Patrick McKenna just behind. They're trying to unlap themselves. And I've already just seen on the map, Oisin Walsh has already had to deal with lap traffic. So they're having to negotiate their way through lap traffic already. I think he's cleared it already. It was Owen Murray had to make his way through. Holman is through as well, and Dempsey gets through as well. Wayne Douglas now, P4. You can see the lap traffic on the inside line. As they go 3 abreast now, you see the lapped cars are trying to sort themselves out there as well. Naveed Hussain in the middle of all these guys. As you can see, as they come through turn 1, very close between them. And you can see Jason Cooper now is also trying to capitalise on this one as well. He's stuck behind the car of Owen Murray as he slots through, trying to follow Newman as well. But he has to try and follow Naveed Hussain, who's running really, really well in the top 5. But you can see now, within oval racing, the lapped cars are not obliged to slow down and move over, so you've got to fight for every position that you gain. And Hussain kind of caught now behind the car of Sergey Grabin, and just behind him he's also got a very fast Jason Cooper, as you can see now. So you can see we're looking at Naveed Hussain. Just behind him now is his rival Jason Cooper, battling for position. And up the road from him will be Wayne Douglas, Keith Dempsey, James Holman and Oisin Walsh, who's now got a 2-second lead out front and clear at the moment. And identical times. How about that? Oisin Walsh and James Holman at 24.642 apiece as Holman picks up the pace now. But he's all, and I can tell you why, because Keith Dempsey's also starting to open up, and the caution flies again. Caution number 4 here in Phoenix, and it looks like it was that was Dave Collier for the second time. And I wonder what's happened to him in that car. Let's have a quick look here. You can just see battling away with Damien McMullen. Oh dear, big one involving 2 cars there. And Dave Collier tapping the rear of that car ahead of him. Couldn't quite see who that car in front of him was, but that is a big one. That's the second crash he's been in today. And of course, he won't have the fast repairs. He's going to be in there for probably the rest of the race.
Yeah, that's going to be game over for him. I think the team might even just give up on that one, saying that there's too much damage. And so Collier is one of our first Joe who is properly out, isn't going to have an opportunity to rejoin. Are there going to be any pit stops this?
Are you looking to get involved in simulator racing? Here at Digital-Motorsports.com, we're a one-stop shop for all your sim racing needs, supplying wheels, pedals, shifters, handbrakes, monitors, virtual reality headsets, seats, chassis, fully built sim solutions and custom built PCs from all the top brands that you know and love. To find out more, visit Digital-Motorsports.com.
about that. James Holman's still in second, and Oisin Walsh ahead of him. So there you can see the number 64 car just slotted in. And there is the lucky dog, Arias Humantis, I think that is, who's getting... Okay. Right up. So it unfortunately looks like we're having issues on the stream, but we will keep you updated. We'll get work.
Are you itching to get racing? Whether it's circuit racing, drifting, rallying, or even karting, here at Digital-Motorsports.com we run some of the best online leagues in the world. To get involved, visit our website at Digital-Motorsports.com and enroll for our next event. Enjoying what you're watching and want to become the next sim racing star? Here at Digital-Motorsports.com, not only can we supply all the parts, but we can custom build your dream simulator rig from start to finish. Just like we have done for world famous drivers like rally legend Craig Breen, drift superstars James Dean and Conor Shanahan. We can build, deliver and set up your full custom simulator rig in your home and offer round the clock support to keep you racing to the top. To find out more, visit Digital-Motorsports.com.
Just think maybe 70, I reckon. I think we're...
Are you looking to get involved in simulator racing? Here at Digital-Motorsports.com we're a one-stop shop for all your sim racing needs, supplying wheels, pedals, shifters, handbrakes, monitors, virtual reality headsets, seats, chassis, fully built sim solutions and custom built PCs from all the top brands that you know and love. To find out more, visit Digital-Motorsports.com.
to reach that 100 mark, but that's something that these drivers have got to consider. Of course, how much fuel are they going to need to get to the end of the race? With the pace that we've been going at so far in today's event, they're not going to be too far off maybe doing the entire race on a one stop. And of course, now that we're nearly at the halfway distance, it does seem like it's going to be a one stop at most, when I thought it was going to be a two stop to start off at the start of this race. So no, it's looking pretty good for the drivers at the moment. Looks like we're going to have one more lap under the pace car after this one, and then we should be able to go back green. Peter Dempsey lost quite a few places there. He's down into 12th position now, I'm seeing. Were we aware of what happened to Peter and all that?
I believe he took an early stop, and initially he was down in about 20th, so he's back into 12th, but he's behind Jordan Kelly, who's made a few places up as well, so should be getting pictures back very shortly. And Oisin Walsh still in the lead. Pace car, we're going to have another lap. So I tell you what, the pace car driver in the Mustang is certainly earning his money today, and he's actually the one who's led the most laps around here. Sorry, Oisin Walsh.
The safety car would have done the safety car would have done many more laps, I think, than some of the drivers in this race. By the way, we should be back going, as you can see for yourself. To be honest, I don't really need to tell you that. Fortunately, that's what cautions are for. Of all the times for that to happen, that was a pretty good one. Also, there's been some sympathies for the iRacing flag man on the start finish line, and honestly the circulation to his hands it must be blue, that thing, by now, because he's been holding that yellow flag up a lot, and yeah, certainly no blood going to that part of his body. So hopefully he makes it through this race without losing a limb. That would be a shame.
Well, here we go. Pace car's going to peel off the left-hand side. James Holman now a little bit more aggressive on the back of Oisin Walsh as we go green once again for the fourth time. Fourth caution is done, and lap 36 of 100 as we go to turn number 1. It is James Holman in second, Keith Dempsey in third place, Wayne Douglas is now in fourth, and the caution flies immediately. Caution 5 as they come down the back straight. Didn't even get through turn 1 there. I don't even know who that was. Looks like there's a car stopped and definitely in turn 1, and Diarmuid Toomey, it looks like, has caused that caution. Unlucky for some, number 13 has made caution number 5 fly here in Phoenix, and and the whole right-hand side of his car is the right rear is missing off of his car. Harry McGovern into the pit lane as well. And looks like the car ahead of Oisin Walsh. I think that's the car of Damien McMullen, who appears to be crabbing quite severely to the left-hand side. And yeah, he's just trying to get it back to the pit lane in one piece. Of course, Damien's sporting a special livery in memory of his mother who died recently, so he's going to get that car back to the pit lane and see if he can get back in the race. Into the pit lane he comes, keeps it in one piece, but yeah, crabbing quite severely, but manages to get it back. But didn't even get through turn one that time. Oisin Walsh still in the lead. James Hall, you know, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think the race is just going to finish in this exact order, Sam.
Perhaps so. But can they get to the end of the race on fuel? I don't know. But because if they do, then that could mix it up a little bit. But if it is just a lights to flag race, then perhaps this will be it. Maybe we should just pack up, go home. It's a long way from Phoenix, Arizona, to the next round of the championship. So perhaps that would be the best thing. But no, there's no sign of Walsh losing this lead, is there? There's been absolutely no doubt about it. So it would be cruel if there was somehow something that stops him from winning this race, be it a back marker or a poor strategy. But surely he's on course for this race victory, as we see another driver pick up the wave round. That was Roy O'Shea. He's back on the lead lap. 24 cars now we've got on the lead lap, which is about 15 less than we started off this race with. And quite a few of them as well using their fast pairs, so I've got to be clean at the end of the race. Sam Kume, clearly we know how he thinks this race will go, as we have changed to the timer rather than the laps.
Yep, I think he's read our minds. He switched to the time instead of the laps. So yeah, Rory O'Shea getting the wave round there. He won the Pro-Am feature last time. And just a quick note as well, Oscar Mangan back in the pit lane again. So Mangan has had a really, really, really bad day of today and will now emerge shortly. But yeah, he's pretty much out of contention for this win. So Oisin Walsh in the lead, and then James Holman second. Then it'll be Keith Dempsey in third, Wayne Douglas. Then Harry McGovern has now made it into fifth place with Naveed Hussain and Jason Cooper, Marty Moore, Nicky Meredith, and Richard Lyons. Now McGovern should actually be behind Hussain, I would imagine, because Hussain was definitely in fifth. But you can see now the temperature of the track is 48 degrees Celsius. That is quite toasty, Sam Fitzpatrick. We are in the middle of the desert out here in Phoenix, so I guess that makes sense.
Yes, and that is Celsius, not Fahrenheit. We haven't changed for the location. That is absolutely boiling in the west of America. As McGovern is quite slow, letting some drivers go. I imagine this is just something that the the race director, the iRacing race director, is just telling him to do, and then we might see him speed past a few drivers. Maybe it's just an end of line after pitting previously, I'm not quite sure, but McGovern is dropping back at the moment. But the grip is going to be pretty low for these drivers, and it's probably just going to get warmer as well. It's 11:30 currently in the morning, and so usually iRacing peaks at about 2:30 in the afternoon, and so it's definitely going to be getting warmer and warmer as this race goes on. So we might even see kind of 52, 53, which I've only ever seen at Interlagos. That's the warmest I've ever seen it get, at 52. That is probably what we're going to see later on, pretty much the maximum temperature we can get in our race.
Yeah, and of course that means that that equals severe tyre wear. So we might see the tyres starting to fall off after, I don't know, 10, 15 laps in these cars. But we've just ticked past the half-hour mark, which leaves 25 minutes left. We've been under caution now 5 times. Pace car coming in this lap. And we'll see how many laps we can get this time with now Oisin Walsh still in the lead. He's led every single lap so far. James Holman has not moved from second place. Keith Dempsey's made his way to third. He started in 10th, so he's always one of the biggest movers. Wayne Douglas, Naveed Hussain, Jason Cooper, Marty Moore, Nicky Meredith, Richard Lyons, and Jordan Kelly now into the top 10. So let's see if how far we can get this time. Pace car to the left-hand side will peel off. Oisin Walsh controls the start. James Holman watching his every move as we go green once again here in Phoenix. And a good start from Oisin Walsh once again. Very well controlled. James Holman second, and Keith Dempsey with Wayne Douglas hounding him now. Keith Dempsey tries to move to the inside. They head through turn number 1. for the first time in a long time under green flag as they come now towards turn 2. Keith Dempsey in the slipstream of James Holman moves to the inside line. Oisin Walsh is broken away already. Keith Dempsey to the inside line, going to try and shut the door on Holman, and he's straight through, and another caution flies once again. Caution number 6. And oh dear,
wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in turn 4. And there is a lot of damage done right there. There is Nicky Meredith, and I think he's stuck with another car right there. I think that's Tony Stack. He's come almost a part of. Wow, big one. We thought the earlier one was big, Sam. This is even bigger.
And more space could have been given by the outside car then. And another one as well, just storming in. Fortunately, you can barely see the number because the bits that the number was on, the nose plate, quickly disappears. And the drivers behind us have to slow to a halt almost, and we did have 24 cars, I think, on the lead lap. Then we're going to be below 20 now. After that, the drivers will just try to kind of push those cars back into the pits to get some more repairs on those machines, and then try to exit the pits. You can always see someone coming out of the pits there. Walsh once again though with a perfect launch. Holman was properly close to the back of Dempsey. I think in fact, did Dempsey get past Holman on that last restart? I think he managed to managed to do that. So it was an awesome start for him. Now up 7 places is Dempsey, as one of the drivers just comes out of the pits. I think that might be Oscar Mangan potentially either. We'll see if he has to go to the end of line. I assume also Jordan Kelly, who just towed back to the pits. He will come out as well, and he's still on the lead lap. So it seems like if he, well, I'm not sure if he did tow or not actually. But anyway, Kelly's still on the lead lap in 22nd place.
There's Oscar Mangan, and that's an unusual place for Oscar Mangan to be, down in 26th place with Patrick McKenna with him. Both of these guys were up inside the top 5 earlier on, and they've now ended up down in P25 and 26 respectively. Shane Rabbit ahead of them, and the lapped car of Arias Humant is also in there as well. So yeah, Shane Rabbit right there with Ronan Hederman ahead of him. And Jordan Kelly is 22nd, so he's emerged ahead of these guys. So there is Ronan Hederman, the VRA, the second of the VRA racing cars, and Jordan Kelly now. And Jordan Kelly now 1 position ahead of him as a result as they come through. Harry McGovern is now in the pits. So now we have 20 minutes left of this race, and we'll see how much more racing we're going to get, because the most of tonight has been behind the Mustang pace car, and we'll have to see. It's going to be. It makes the restarts even more crucial, because if whoever gets past is more likely to take the win here. So really, Dempsey, if he wants a chance at this win, he needs to really attack our leader Oisin Walsh. But there's really no sign of Oisin Walsh faltering under any sort of pressure. Every restart, he's managed to just break away, almost a second away from the guys out in the lead. But you are watching the Digital-Motorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup, sponsored by Next Level Racing and supported by Driver 61. And we are under caution for the 6th time tonight. And with Oisin Walsh in the number 3, Keith Dempsey in the 22 behind him, and James Holman and Wayne Douglas trying to slug it out for that final podium slot. And Naveed Hussain, I think, doing a really good job there in 5th place in the top 5. Jason Cooper and Marty Moore as well. Richard Lyons, Peter Dempsey now back inside the top 10, and Rob Moore now in 10th place. And as a result, a lot of people have made up places as a result of that crash that caused this caution. As we peel around once again, we should have the cars already taken the lucky dog, so we might have another lap or 2 behind the pace car, but I don't think this is quite the race that the guys were hoping for. It's been a tricky one. I think that would be one of the rabbits getting the wave around for the lucky dog. So the car of Shane Rabbit gets the wave around this time, so he will come back to the back of the field and get back on the lead lap. But yeah, the race directors have been, the stewards might be busy later on tonight with the amount of incidents that have happened tonight, and not quite the race that everyone was hoping for. The race, of course, on Wednesday in Daytona was one of the best in the championship, and Phoenix has been, well, I think we can all agree, a bit of a disaster, Sam.
Yeah, it's so tricky for these drivers to jump into these cars, which they're still not used to, and this oval format, and it's a big grid as well. I think we're probably going to get a good run of racing at some point, probably a good solid 8 minutes or so of consistent racing as the drivers on the lead lap have started to come down. And I think for Owen Walsh, I think as long as he wins this race, he'll be quite pleased with it. There's Dempsey taking a different approach. He's trying to almost get alongside. This didn't quite work for him last time, but he's trying anything to mount a challenge at the race leader. But once again, the gap is made. But it's a better start for Dempsey this time. At least he's kept Holman just behind him.
Yeah, so through turn 1 we go again, the 6th time that we're under green flag, and the caution comes out immediately. 7 cautions as we come through. And Marty Moore, what a shame, spins in turn 1. I think he's avoided damage, but yeah, the caution flag. Oh dear, Damien McMullen flipping wildly in turn number 1. I think that is flipping upside down. And yeah, the caution comes out for the 7th time. Pace car emerges once again, but wow, this has been a race of attrition, I'll tell you that. And drivers slow down once again. Let's have a quick look at what happened in turn 1 again. But that was very quick. And Marty Moore, unfortunately, spinning around. We're now looking at just a Demi McMullen as he entered through that. I think that's Jason Cooper behind him, and did it all by himself and just collected Marty Moore. And Marty Moore sent Demi McMullen flipping out. Well, I think somebody else might have collected him, actually. Oh, yeah, there it is. Patrick McKenna, one of the other cars, sent him. Oh, my Lord. Damien is going to feel a little bit. I think he's going to have motion sickness after that one. And if he's in VR, that would not have been fun. But back in the pit lane, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Damien out of the race right now. But did that all by himself, and that could have been, Sam, the high track temperature, cold tires, and a boiling hot track makes for a really deadly combo.
Yeah, and I wonder as well if he kind of just got on the pump as well. That the car seems to be oscillating a lot right there. And just losing the car, and round he went and hard into the wall. This is a bit odd at the moment. Walsh is a long way ahead. They haven't actually picked up this pace car yet, with many of these drivers who've just come into the pits now coming out of the pits. I imagine the pace car will pick them up relatively soon. 15 minutes to go in this race. I guess we are going to have no safety car, no mandatory pit stop then in this race. It seems like they are going to be able to do this entire event just on fuel. Of course, this being a completely American championship for the season of the Digital-Motorsports Championship. And of course, next up we're at Laguna Seca. And certainly going to be a very different race to this this one, Jack, although not too far away geographically. But no, that's just going to be a circuit that everyone knows. Once again, a free circuit on iRacing, I believe. Yeah, I think Laguna Seca is a free circuit on iRacing, as this archive Phoenix Motor Speedway is as well. And that's going to be a great host for round 3, very different to Daytona, and of course this Phoenix circuit that we've visited so far.
Exactly, so we have about 15 minutes left, and Oisin Walsh has just been kind of, when we say cruising around, we mean literally cruising behind the pace car for most of this. And hopefully the fuel saving he was doing earlier is going to come back to help him, because these guys definitely won't need to pit for tyres, and they certainly, hopefully, won't need to pit for fuel. But this is quite something. 7 cautions. I've never seen a race with that many safety cars, I'll tell you that. But James Holman still on the podium in 3rd place. Douglas, Hussein, Cooper, Lyons, Rob Moore, Keith Rabbit. And now, as a result of the crashes behind him, Jean Montero is now into the top 10. So you can see now, you can see the amount of Pro-Am guys that have capitalized from this. So 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th Pro-Am guys. And it's mostly actually the Pro-Am guys that are surviving this race inside the top 20 at the moment. So Jean Montero is the 2nd Pro-Am driver on the field. Pat Masterson, then Nathan Healy, Chris Conley and Shane Conley, and then Rob O'Neill in 15th place. These guys have essentially just avoided the crashes and made their way through. And now they're just outside the top 10. Jean Montero now behind Keith Rabbit, Rob Moore, Richard Lyons, Jason Cooper, Naveed Hussain, Wayne Douglas, James Holman, Keith Dempsey and Oisin Walsh. And you can see as they come through the final corner, Once again, there's a car stopped on the pit entry now. Now, I'm not sure who that is, but they've stopped before the pit entry. That is
No?
Owen Kelly.
Oh.
Stopped before the pit entry. Now, if he doesn't come into the pit lane, now that could pose a little bit of an issue because there's a car stopped on track. So I wonder. Yeah, and I knew it was going to cause an issue. I think the iRacing system has just extended the caution because Owen Kelly is stopped before the pit entry, and I don't know. I think the rest of this race could be under pace car if he doesn't get that car moved.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he's just doing his best Gandalf impression. You shall not pass. Not quite sure. It's a very good impression, though. I'd be scared of it.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know why he stopped there.
There we go.
Oh, there
He
you
just
go.
got the call, I think.
Realised that how to drive the car. He is crabbing quite a bit. Maybe he's just doing a good crab impression now. If he can mix the two together, then that could be quite a unique talent act. But there we are. Pace car, hopefully the lights will go out this time. We are on lap 53 of this race. I'm not quite sure. I think we're on lap 53 of this, or 54 of this event so far, and we were scheduled to do the 100, so it certainly is going to be time limited now, with just 11 minutes of this event to go, and most drivers not coming into the pits at the moment. I don't know if the pit lane is not open on that. Maybe Kelly was just waiting to come into the pits because the pit lane wasn't open, but the pit lane would have been open at some point during this during this caution period. So I don't know.
So possibly by inadvertently waiting for the pit lane to open, what he's done is he's essentially extended the caution. And yeah, the pace car in this lap, and look at Keith Dempsey already just pulling alongside. He's not going to be quite alongside. He's just going to put his car enough alongside just to try and just match Oisin Walsh, because they need to do some racing tonight, boys. So a lot side by side go Dempsey and Walsh as we come towards the start finish again. Walsh controls it, and away we go once again for hopefully the last caution of the day towards turn one. Keith Dempsey second, Holman third, Douglas in fourth. Through turn one they go once again, and Oisin Walsh trying to build that gap immediately. The track is extremely hot now, almost 50 degrees centigrade as they come towards turn number 3 and 4, and Walsh has already built that gap. So even though there's been 7 cautions today, I mean, the guys had the pace to hold on right now. Harry McGovern going a little bit slowly. We look back at 3 wide moments going in there as they come through turn number 3. Peter Dempsey and Rory O'Shea side by side just up ahead there. Jordan Kelly now has to slot behind. So Peter Dempsey slots ahead of Rory O'Shea. So through now, Jordan Kelly going to do the same thing, as well as the lapped car of Nicky Meredith goes through. Tony Stack that was making the move. Sorry, Tony Stack gets ahead of him as they now slot into the top 20. So 10 minutes left of this race. We don't know. We assume that the guys are good on fuel for the rest of this race. That is only 10 minutes anyway. But you can see now Wayne Douglas dropping away into the clutches of James Holman and Naveed Hussain. Now he'll be wanting a podium in this race, just behind now. So the gap back to these guys is quite close. But Oisin Walsh has already built a 1 second lead over Keith Dempsey as they come towards turn 1 once again. But yeah, Walsh looking comfortable, all good at the moment, and he has led every single lap, even though that was behind the safety car for most of it. But right now, he's had the pace anyway to hold on.
I don't know how he does this, Oisin Walsh. He's got a couple of tenths on absolutely everyone out on stage. He's got the fastest lap of the race at the moment. He's consistently a couple of tenths faster than everyone else. Dempsey up to 8 tenths of a second behind. Now, I did actually take a tenth of a second out to Dempsey, but I think may have got disrupted by the lapped car that last time round for Walsh. Douglas just sets the fastest second sector of the race. This circuit divided into 2 sectors, and Dempsey, after being under pressure from Douglas for a little while, has been able to pull away. Douglas actually now gets slowed up a little bit by that back marker as well. Really close between Richard Lyons and Robert Moore at the moment, just going side by side. And Lyons on the outside. Is he going to lose this position to Moore, who should have a slightly compromised exit on the inside line? He's trying to make that inside line work, but Lyons does make it stick eventually. We can now move on to Jason Cooper. He's 1.2 seconds up the road.
Fast lap of the race, Oisin Walsh 24.4, 2 tenths quicker then Keith Dempsey behind. So Walsh is completely comfortable up front. There's no issues for him, and I think it's a well-deserved win if he does get across that line in one piece, considering the amount of times he's had to cruise around at about 60 miles an hour, 60 kilometers an hour, should I say. So we look at Richard Lyons now. Rob Moore chasing him. Up ahead of him is Jason Cooper. That's 2 lap cars ahead of him, Diarmuid Toomey and Sergio Graben, who are battling for lower place positions as Richard Lyons twitches on the way in, and Rob Moore will have the momentum now to slot back in front and coming towards turn 3 and 4. He does slot back in front as a result of that little twitch on entry, and Moore holds on to 7th now. So there's a little gap now to Jason Cooper. So we're back now with Chris Connolly. There's a big old battle scrap going on right here. This is Shane Rabbit with Shane Connolly behind him, Chris Connolly in front of him. Now on board with them as they head down towards turn number 1 in the slipstream. See if anybody's going to get this done. Shane Rabbit to the inside line. They just nip a little bit of the apron there, not ideal. Gets a good run on the exit, has to lift out of it, and now you can see Shane Connolly going to try and make it 3 abreast. He thinks better of it and backs out. By the way, fastest lap of the race, Keith Dempsey, 24.3, takes 3/10 out of our leader on that time around. And yeah, it's starting to heat up a little bit now in these last couple of minutes as we now look at Keith Dempsey. You can see in front of you, he's brought the gap down to 0.5 of a second. 0.5 of a second, he's within the toe now. So Oisin Walsh is in the danger zone, Sam.
Where's this come from? All of a sudden, Dempsey's absolutely storming along. Got a nice line through 1 and 2. Very different corners to one another. One kind of opens up. 2 is pretty tricky to keep it out of the wall. Keith Rabbit comes into the pit. It's very odd seeing that we've just had a caution why he chooses to come into the pits right now. But Dempsey gets the gap down to 0.4 of a second. Now this is where it's going to get tricky for him. He's in the wake now because these cars don't produce that much turbulence and not too aero dependent. However, it still will affect you from this distance back. Wayne Douglas now 2 seconds behind these guys. So if Dempsey could steal this one off Oisin Walsh, that would be absolutely dispiriting to the driver who's led pretty much every lap so far. Walsh even trying to break the draft now. Gets down to 0.3 of a second. Dempsey drives it in deep and picks up a lot of understeer mid-corner as well. Opens up to half second. So to get any closer than this, it's going to need to be something really big from Dempsey or a mistake from Oisin Walsh.
Yeah, but it's certainly nice and close. Update on that pit stop from Keith Rabbit. He was missing the front wing, so definitely went wrong with them there as they came across the line this time. You can see Oisin Walsh should have a little bit in hand. Yeah, 4.93, just a couple of hundredths now, but that's all you need. But yeah, Dempsey is still getting the benefit of the toe, but also the disadvantage of that dirty air. And now this could be crucial now. Oisin Walsh coming up to a couple of lapped cars, Rory O'Shea ahead of him, and the 2 Connollys, who are not too far up the road as well. Crossing the line, 50 minutes have ticked by in this race. Now Oisin Walsh will also have the toe. Rory O'Shea gets himself well out of the way. It lifts right out of the throttle. Oisin Walsh a little bit in hand, but these guys are just setting the times of place. They're so much faster than the rest of the guys, but there's a lot of lap traffic to negotiate now as they come through turn 4. Kevin Shine just makes himself as useless as possible on the outside line. So Oisin Walsh just side his way through that traffic, and really nice to watch how they negotiate this. That's Chris Connolly now. Dempsey gets held up a slight bit there, and just easy as that, the gap's opened out to a second. Yeah,
that was a massive slow up there for Dempsey. He'll be infuriated by that one, but that's just luck of the draw. He'll be hoping that they come across a bit more traffic to mix it up once again. Douglas now making his way past. He's ahead of Holman. So Holman was running as high as second place early on in the race, obviously. Naveed Hussein as well, just on the turn, and Rob Moore as well, up 22 places. He's ahead of Jason Cooper at the moment. And now this is the first time we've really seen the lap traffic come into play, because it's the first time we've been able to go green long enough to catch up to the lap traffic. As there goes Cooper, goes deep down the inside, and that looks pretty good for him. But on the exit, actually, Robert Moore a better run. We'll have part of his car alongside still into one Will Cooper. But that outside line perhaps becoming pretty good. That was a really good line there for Robert Moore, and I just wonder maybe if Dempsey has been able to utilise that outside line slightly more. As the track rubbers in on the inside, you sometimes want to get a part of the track which hasn't been used quite as much, and perhaps Dempsey, that's why he's been able to close in on Wolves. But now the gap's up to 1.7, and with 3 minutes to go, unless we get another caution, And that looks like it's pretty much all over.
Yeah, so here's James Holman. He's now embroiled in a battle with Naveed Hussain for 4th place. Hussain just slotting in right on the tail there. Rory O'Shea has to make himself get himself out of the way. Naveed Hussain going to go for his result, but Oisin Walsh is just banging in the lap times 24-4, 24-4, 24-4 each time. And Dempsey's now just fallen off, so it was a good attack, but it hasn't lasted from Keith Dempsey. So we're now just battling away for the 4th place. This is Oisin Walsh now. He's got to negotiate that. I think is Keith Rabbit ahead of him now, just trying to make his way to the traffic because those guys are battling ahead of him now. So Rabbit slots ahead and Walsh gets ahead now, trying to get that inside. Can't quite do it. And as a result, he's having to keep himself behind Keith Rabbit here. And he's trying to find a gap, and he does find it eventually and goes to the inside line and should slot in front of him. But Keith Rabbit has a run on the outside line, so not making this easy is Keith Rabbit. They're not obliged to move over, but Oisin Walsh will probably not be the happiest bunny with this one, as they now got even more traffic to deal with. He's got Keith Rabbit, Rob O'Neill, and I think Shane Rabbit ahead of him. 3 abreast. Walsh to the inside line, and caution flies in the dying minutes here, as we wondered and wait to see what has caused that caution. But in the dying minutes, it's Diarmuid Toomey, I think, that's caused that one. We'll try and see what happened there.
Seemingly getting tagged. I'm not sure if once again it may have been netcode between the drivers, and off the side again, Toomey straight away towing back to the pits. Now I'm not quite sure what the rule is, whether we end under pace car, whether we're going to have what's it called, a green-white checkered, where you extend the race slightly. Yeah, I imagine because it's a time limit, we're just going to, this is going to be it. This is going to be all the laps that we can complete, and therefore will be the finish of the race. So we might be coming up to the white flag. Although again, I don't know how the iRacing system calculates that, because under green flag it wouldn't be the white flag, but with only 40 seconds to go, it's looking very good for Oisin Walsh at the moment to take his first race victory of the season. Here we go, yeah, 30 seconds to go. Across the line goes the Ford Mustang Pace Cup. In the end, only 17 drivers I'm seeing on the lead lap, and Shane Rabbit will be pretty pleased that he was on that lead lap, because it meant that he will finish this race on the lead lap. In fact, he may have gone 1 lap down just before we went to the caution, and just waiting now for the flag man to change that flag from a yellow one to a checkered flag one, because this should be about it.
Yeah, now I'll wait and see. Of course, it should be the checkered flag, but I think Rob O'Neill got the wave around, so I'm under suspicion there could be a green-white checkered here. We'll wait and see. Of course, we're going to just wait for Oisin Walsh to round that turn 4, and we'll see if that checkered flag is going to come out or not, or if we're going to get a last gasp dash to the finish here for this one in Phoenix. With I think this is caution number 8 in here in Phoenix. As Oisin Walsh is coming to the line now, and I don't see that checkered flag coming out. No white flag, so it looks like we're going to get a green-white checkered. And I'm not quite sure how many laps that is extended by, but we're definitely going to get. I think we're going to get. We're definitely going to get a finish under green by the looks of it.
Yeah, I guess we just continue until we get a green flag. I guess the thing is, of course, oval racing. It's done on distance, isn't it? It's not done on time. So I don't really know what this is based on, if there's a real-life series which runs timed oval races, which iRacing is basing this on. But I guess we will just go over the time limit. We could be on 58, 59 minutes by the time that this race is finished. Hopefully they've got enough fuel to get to the finish, which I doubt would be an issue, but it still might be a little bit of an element. Bad news. I'm not sure if this is good or bad news for Keith Dempsey, because we've seen such perfect launches so far from Oisin Walsh. Dempsey, if anything, I think it's going to be more tricky for him to keep behind Douglas than it is to pass Walsh. Although I'm sure, to be fair, he would like to have one last
Oisin Walsh has won.
Aha,
checkered flag. Yeah. So it has finished under pace car. Oisin Walsh has won this race. He's led every single lap. I mean, if anybody deserves it, it's him. Oisin Walsh wins here in Phoenix. Keith Dempsey second. Wayne Douglas gets that podium slot, just beating James Holman. Naveed Hussain in 5th place. Rob Moore, Jason Cooper, Richard Lyons, Peter Dempsey, and João Monteiro. I thought we were going to get a lap of green-white checker, but not quite. But Oisin Walsh has done the job after 8 cautions, and I didn't even count how many laps we actually did under green, but that was quite crazy. And hopefully Oisin Walsh may give us a few donuts if the thing is clear. And there we go. So Oisin Walsh, first win of the season, and a good result for him in the championship. And the first ever oval round goes to him, finishing under pace car here in Phoenix. And definitely the biggest race of attrition I have ever seen. And yeah, it's been an interesting one. 8 cautions. Chalk that down in the record books for the future. But the guys have now got to calculate the championship, and probably, Sam, a lot of stewards' inquiries to come.
Yes. I'm not quite sure what the penalties they give are. I think they have no qualifying bans as well, but that's point penalties as well. I think most drivers will get away with it. Most of the incidents we saw were just tiny little taps, maybe a little bit of netcode involved as well. But Oisin Walsh, that's the boost he needed for the championship. That's going to really propel him up to the upper standings. And certainly he is the king of the ovals for this season. Congratulations to him.
Yep, Oisin Walsh, second win ever in Digital Motorsports. Keith Dempsey gets on the podium, and a good result as well for Wayne Douglas in 3rd place. James Holman with a great result in 4th, just missed out on that podium, and Naveed Hussain as well for the Pro-Am guys, representing them well in 5th place. Rob Moore, Jason Cooper, and Richard Lynd. Peter Dempsey gets to 9th, and João Monteiro gets that final top 10 slot. Arias Yamantis, Tony Stack, Pat Masterson, Jordan Kelly, Ronan Herdeman, Nathan Healy, then Shane Rabbit and Rob O'Neill in P18. And then Shane Connolly, Rory O'Shea, Chris Connolly, Keith Rabbit, Dave Maguire, Colby James, Rob Barble, Patrick McKenna, Nicky Meredith, Sergey Grabin, all of these guys involved in big wrecks. Earlier on, we had 40 cars who started this race. And yeah, it's been one hell of a race of attrition with 8 cautions, 8 yellow flags, and most of the race behind that Mustang safety car. So we may just get a quick word with our race winner, and we'll see. I'd love to hear his thoughts on this. I'm just going to drag him into the commentary box now. Oisin Walsh, welcome to the commentary box once again. I talk about a race of attrition. Most of that race was behind the pace car, but you managed to not crash and come out on top.
Yeah, I was pretty confident coming into this. I think I have probably the most oval experience in this league on iRacing. I know Peter's raced it a little bit in real life, but I've got by far the highest oval I rating. I'm like the only one who does it. So I was pretty confident coming into this. And then I hit Q pretty well, pulled it by more than I expected, but I pulled it by almost a 10th, so that was pretty good. And then I knew the dirty air was going to be quite hard, so I kind of knew I could rely on that. And then I was fairly confident, because I've raced this car on an oval before, that if someone got to me, I could pretty much just hold them off on the outside, because they can be pretty hard to pass on the inside, especially when you're passing the leader with clean air. So I would say, especially when I kind of expected to get enough cautions to not need to pit, I kind of knew I could be pretty confident that I'd win it.
Was it frustrating every time you managed to build a gap that the caution would fly again?
It was kind of frustrating, but then I kind of knew I'd usually be able to open it up. There was one point at the end where Keith managed to get within 0.4 or 0.5. And then I think he must have just gotten messed up by a lap car. But that was the first time anyone had really managed to actually stick in my draft and not just get dropped back. The most frustrating thing wasn't really the cautions, but when we did get, especially at the end, we got long enough run that there were actual lap traffic. And some of them weren't really racing how I would expect people to race me in an oval race, especially I kind of assumed it would be a bit like Indy Fix, but they were racing me a lot harder than they usually would in that. But not really too much work, just had to be careful around them. And then, yeah, it wasn't that annoying because I was leading.
Yeah. So just finally, obviously, round 3, Laguna Seca coming up. So again, a different challenge. How are you feeling going into that one?
I mean, I like the track. I don't know how good I'll be there. I was kind of hoping for a better result at Daytona, but then I got a damaged front wing. I think coming to the white flag, so I couldn't really fight for anything better. And then I got taken out in first lap in the second race. So hopefully I could do a bit better than that. I think I can fight at the front, especially with the draft. I might be a couple tenths off the best guys, but I can probably stick with them and fight for podiums or wins in the road course. So yeah, it should be okay, but I don't really know.
Well, Oisin Walsh, thanks so much for joining us once again. Congratulations on the win in the Procession 500 at Phoenix. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks.
And that is how I'm going to refer to it from now on, the Procession at Phoenix. 8 cautions with that one. Oisin Walsh leading every single lap of this one. Keith Dempsey second and Wayne Douglas on the podium. So it was a really intriguing race in its own right for the amounts of crashes, the amount of cautions, and there was glimpses of good racing, but I'm sure the guys will be regrouping and possibly thinking about rounds in the future. This was probably one of the trickiest rounds on the calendar, but we'll be back very soon with round number 3 from Laguna Seca. So we're back to the road courses and a track that a lot of the drivers will be very, very experienced with, and of course the championship now hotting up with 3 different winners in 3 races. Of course, Wayne Douglas in the heat race in Daytona, then Jordan Kelly, and now Oisin Walsh, and we'll see how the guys will get on in Laguna Seca. Once again, thanks very much to Sam Fitzpatrick for joining me. Thanks to Sam Ellie for working hard on the cameras, and obviously you can catch up with all the action on the Irish Sneak Sports Network and on Apex Racing TV. This was the Digital-Motorsports.com Indy Pro 2000 Cup, sponsored by Next Level Racing and supported by Driver 61. We'll see you next time on Wednesday for the Wednesday 2 weeks, I think it is, for the next round of the championship from Laguna Seca at 8:30 UK time. Thank you so much for joining us, and for anyone who did watch the entire thing, thank you so much for sticking with us. We'll see you next time at Laguna Seca. Thank you, and good night.